Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we are going to be diving into every single red card in the Yu Yu Hakusho set. The two decks broken up between Kurama and Hiei. But looking at the decks, there doesn't seem to be too much mixing you can do. There is this Yusuke raid that kind of goes into both of them. But at the end of the day, they're both kind of trying to do their own thing with their own cards and whatnot. One being very, very event card dependent, trying to spam out event cards and take advantage of that. While the other deck, the Kurama deck, trying to get the energy ramp up and going for snipe impacts, as well as a lot of trash and draw power in order to get certain effects off. All around, I think red is looking pretty strong. Again, we have a Snipe Impact red. Crazy that we're getting two different Snipe Impact decks out of Yu Yu Hakusho, but on top of that, there's a double attacker. This red deck looks like it's going to put on a lot of pressure, this red Kurama deck, as well as having like trigger protection and just, again, really, really good options for event cards and stuff. And then this Hiei deck here, being able to replay special cards out of the sideline, so essentially getting 8 total uses out of your special cards, since they have to go to removal after, on top of being a very low-cost deck, very rush-heavy, traditional red decks for sure, but I think both are going to play really well and stand out quite a bit, but especially the Kurama deck. I'm very excited for that one. But yeah, starting it out here with the Kurama cards, we've got our big 6-cost raid Kurama. Just so you know, all cards are treated as Kurama, just because he needs to raid on top of a Kurama. But you're going to see that in all the Kurama cards. They are all treated as Kurama. Anyways, during your turn, this character gains all abilities listed below if it has the required amount of BP. So he's going to start it as a 4, but if he's a 5k, he's going to gain Impact, and then if he's an 8k, he's going to gain Snipe. And as you're going to see with a lot of cards in the deck, getting him up to 8k is not going to be hard, especially because when he's played, he actually gains 3k until the end of the turn. So the turn he's played, just straight up, he's a 7k. So you just need to find a way to get him one more 1000 BP in order for him to be an Impact Snipe the turn you play him. But something interesting to note about this card, I don't know how easy it's going to be to do or how consistent, but you're going to be able to get multiple Impact Snipes out of this card potentially, rather than just snipe the turn you play him and then that going away forever. On top of all that, though, we also have an active main. If he's on the front line, you can trash one card from your hand, and that's going to give him 1000 BP until the end of the turn. So at the end of the day, this card has all the sources he needs to turn you play him to make him an Impact Snipe immediately. But again, as you're going to see with a lot of cards in the deck, there's a lot of different ways to get that BP buffs off. With the raid from Life Trigger, honestly a pretty solid raid from Life Trigger, just because again there might be other ways to get him back up to 8k, but on top of that you still get the when played 3k, so he's like a 7k defender if you do raid him out of life. And then we also have another Kurama raid here, so it's going to be really nice having these two different raid cards to just keep spamming out with all the different Kurama raid options as well. He's a 4-cost active main. If he's on the front line once per turn, you can choose one character on your field and it just straight up gains 1000 BP, including him. But he can be your free 1k buff to the other raid card. And then he also has another active main, so you can choose one or both of them. Place 2 cards from your hand into the sideline. Once per turn, this character is going to gain double attack. So as you're going to see throughout this deck, there is a bit of draw power to help you sort of get those cards back in hand, but there is going to be a lot of sidelining from hand in order to do all the stuff you want to do. But that's pretty crazy. Just trash 2 and now he's a double attacker, maybe a 5k double attacker, pretty nuts. He is just an add to hand trigger, so even though he is a raid, you cannot raid him out of life on defense. But yeah, all around a very nice low-cost early game pressure card to help us get cards on the board and pressure our opponent while we're setting up for the 6-cost. And looking at the raid targets here you're going to have for Kurama, we have this 1-cost triggerless card, but it's a pretty good one. When performing a raid on this character, is if you have 3 or less cards in your hand, you actually get to draw a card. And then, when played, you may place 1 card from your hand into the sideline. If you do, you can choose one other character on your field and it gains 2k BP until the end of the turn. So again, this is going to be one of our different options to maybe potentially help us stack our 4k back up to an 8k, the 6-cost raid, in order to get Impact Snipe once again. Again, it's going to be pretty wild if you're able to get that multiple times on the same raid card. But again, no trigger, but I think it's justified. This is a pretty good card for sure. And then we have 3-cost Kurama. This is actually a double energy generator, our color trigger. When played, draw a card. Honestly, just a fantastic raid target to have for the deck, especially because our big card is a 6-cost, so all of this is just so nice. Refill in the hand, double energy generation, great card right here. And then 2-cost Kurama, active main. If he's on the front line, you can trash 1 card from your hand into the sideline. once per turn, this character gains 1k BP until the end of the turn, so he can essentially just be your 2-cost 4k card if you're going for sort of like a rush mentality, extra pressure with your other raid cards, maybe as a 4k 2-cost. No trigger, but he's also a raid target, so everything stacked together. It's a pretty good card. And then I'm not sure why the SR art is not here. They've literally never done this before. I've broken down every single set the day we've gotten the English releases. This really makes me think we're getting like a different SR art for some reason. Just base SR art. Regardless, if you're curious, this is actually what the Kurama looks like in the Japanese version, the one we're looking at right now. But yeah, I don't know what they're doing. I wonder if it's going to be a different art. Never seen this before in the breakdowns. Just the base SR art is not here. It's coming soon. So if you guys have any info on this, let me know. I'm very curious. But regardless, this is going to be a 2 action point, 5-cost Kurama. Play this character set to active onto your field, and then when played, you can actually draw cards until you have 3 cards in your hand. So you're going to be doing a lot of hand dumping with this deck, but you're going to have some cards to refill, including something like this, where if you literally go down to 0 cards, if he's the last card in your hand, granted, he's a 2 action point. He does come out active, which is nice with the get trigger and all that. You get to straight up draw 3 cards potentially with him. So yeah, not a bad card to have at all. Maybe like a 2 of, 3 of. It's just that 2 action point that makes him a little tough. But I mean, at the end of the day, if he literally is being played set to active and he's actually drawing you 2 to 3 cards, he might be a 4 of. He's pretty good. Great way to refill your hand while also getting bodies on the board. Like event draw cards that draw 2 to 3 sound good, but then you don't have a body on the board. Having a set to active 4K, but then you're also potentially drawing 3 cards. This could actually be a 4 of 2 action point card. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. On top of the Kurama and having other ways to have draw power and refill your hand, you're also going to have this really nice looking Yusuke raid card, who I believe is going to go great in both decks. So raid, nullify impact, and then when played, you get to draw a card. And then if you've used 2 or more event cards this turn, you actually get to draw 2 cards instead. With the add to hand trigger, so unfortunately, you can't raid him from life and get that ability for free on your opponent's turn. Still a great ability to have with a 4k BP as well. And he's a raid card, so you can sort of keep pressuring your opponent. I do feel like this card is going to play and get more value out of the Hiei deck, where that deck is literally spamming event cards. It's trying to play 2 to 3 event cards per turn, potentially, like for free, as we'll get into. I can still see this being a nice option to have in your Kurama deck, just for more draw power and refilling your hand with the trashing you're going to do. On top of that, there is a 3-cost Yusuke double energy generator. Since we're going to have that 6-cost Kurama we're trying to get out, the more double energy generators, the better, and it's a raid target for the Yusuke as well. During your turn, also, if you've used an event card this turn, he's going to be a 4K, going from a 3 to a 4K. So not a bad card to have in the deck, especially, again, for the double energy generation, raid target, active trigger as well. Really nice card. Yusuke is going to be great support in both decks, I feel like. And then we also have a 0-cost Yusuke here, good raid target again, with the active trigger, 2k BP, not a bad 0 at all. We love these. And then we're going to have this really nice looking sight card for the Kurama deck, 3-cost Rose Whip Thorn Wheel. Active main once per turn. You can only activate this ability the turn that you've played this card. Choose up to 1 Kurama on your field and it'll gain your opponent cannot choose this character with abilities on characters or triggers until the start of your next turn. It's a double energy generating sight and it's an add to hand trigger, so fantastic card for the Kurama deck, especially like those double attackers or maybe your Snipe+Impact. I'd say double attacker. You make him safe from triggers and character abilities on your opponent's turn, but especially triggers, so that you do the Snipe+Impact. And then if you do happen to hit a special, you've already protected your double attacker who's waiting to get 2 attacks off. And yeah, it just great combination all around. And again, it being a double energy generator to help get your 6 costs out. I have high hopes for the Kurama deck, I'll say that. And then a 3-cost Seed of the Death Plant. Choose 1 character on your opponent's front line, switch it to resting, and then if Kurama's on your field, draw a card. With an active trigger, I mean, this could be a good card. It could be one of those cards where in the perfect situation, it is just game winner. There's going to be other situations where you just wish you did not start with this card in your hand, potentially. But we're also trashing a lot of cards. So, you know, having this card in your deck to potentially have it to like win the game just because you get to rest an opponent's card could be pretty nuts, and there's the draw power as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if just having the sleeper 2 of in your deck for the right opportunities, it comes into play. But all around, not a like top tier event card. I don't think this is like your deck game changer or anything. Now I will say this I am a little concerned about because I feel like there might be those one-off occasions, those unfortunate games where you literally your special kind of sucks. But the special of the deck, 4-cost Rose Whip. So you get to choose one character with 3k or less on your opponent's front line and sideline it. And then if you have 3 or less cards in your hand, you can choose a 5k instead. Again, we are trashing a lot of cards. We are getting low on cards consistently for sure, but your condition for hitting a 5k having to be 3 or less in your hand might be annoying at times for sure, especially if like the correct plays for the turn, for whatever reason, the setup is to use the Rose Whip first. You know, there's a good chance your hand is not at 3 at that moment. So I don't know. Again, there's more often than not, you're going to be in the right situations where you're going to be at 3 or less because that's what your deck is doing. It's just going to suck in those one-off occasions where you've got 4 or 5 in your hand with no smart, really good way to discard them and you can't target a 5k. I don't know. I'm nervous for that line of text there. That's going to be a little annoying. Overall, though, it's going to be your special, and this deck is doing so much outside of it. Not too concerned about this being a downfall or anything. This is an event card you could probably run in either deck, just because, again, it's refilling your hand, and wouldn't be surprised if people have 1 or 2 of it. 4-cost, 3 grand Treasures of Darkness. Draw 3 cards and then trash a card. With the draw trigger, again, just having 1 or 2 of it because we're already going so low on cards in our hand. Wouldn't be surprised if it comes in handy. And then we have this search engine for the deck here, 1-cost Shiori. I believe this is Kurama's mom. When played, look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Kurama, add it to your hand, and if you did take one, trash a card, obviously place the rest on the bottom. Our generic searches, but we love this one because it's a 1-cost with an active trigger as well. So very, very nice search engine to help you get to your Kuramas. Again, all of your raid Kuramas count as Kurama, so you can grab any card with this when it comes to raid targets or raids. So really, really nice search engine card here for sure. And then, yeah, that pretty much does it for the Kurama deck. Again, this is out of the 2 red decks, this is the one I'm most excited to build. Snipe+Impact and just board rushing, double attack. It sounds like it can be very annoying to fight against. So I hope it plays out as well as it looks on paper. But looking at the other deck here, the Hiei deck, 4-cost Hiei. So this deck's going to be doing... I mean, the main engine is the raid here because you're able to replay your specials out of the sideline the turn you play them. Overall, with the Yukina, though, we are actually spamming event cards, essentially. She allows us to play event cards for free. So we're going to have some crazy turns where we're not just specialing cards, but we're specialing twice in a turn and just doing it all at low AP cost as well. So not going to be surprised at all if this deck does perform pretty well just because it is very removal heavy. But taking a look at the Hiei raid here, 4-cost Hiei. During your turn, if you've used an event card this turn, he's going to gain impact. Essentially, he's going to have impact most turns, if not all. And then when played, if it is your turn, use up to 1 Dragon of the Darkness Flame, your special, from your sideline by ignoring its required energy and paying its AP cost. So you don't have to have, I believe it's 4-cost energy, but you do have to have 1 action point. And then place any card with this ability into your removal instead of your sideline. So if you do use it from your sideline, it does have to go into removal. So you can't just keep replaying the 1 special. You can get a 1 use out of each one, essentially. 1 extra use. But yeah, he's got the add to hand trigger or raid, so I mean you could raid him on your opponent's turn, but since you can only use the when played special from sideline on your turn, you probably want to try to avoid raiding him out of life. 4k BP, so yeah, really, really strong looking raid all around, especially if you are able to consistently spam out those specials. And as you're going to see with the Yukinas, we're able to get a lot of event card value without having to pay a ton of the action point costs. So real quick, looking at the Yukina here, this is going to be our other color trigger, so you are going to have to choose between this and the Kurama, essentially dividing the decks, right, sort of pointing you in the direction you want to go. So when played, reduce the AP cost of the next event card you use from your hand or sideline this turn by 1, essentially making it a 0 AP to play. And as you'll see with certain event cards here, you can use this to cheat out extra action point restands, essentially. And then active main, switch to resting. You can only activate this ability if you use an event card this turn. Look at the top card of your deck and then place it on the top or bottom. So yeah, again, effectively most, if not all turns, we're going to be able to filter the top card of our deck with her. Pretty nice. 2500, single energy generation, so not going to help. If this is like a double energy generator, that'd be so nuts for Kurama. But yeah, this is definitely more Hiei focused, I feel like, especially with just the single energy generation. But yeah, so if you don't know in Union Arena, essentially reducing it by 1 is going to make most, if not all, of the action points 0 on the event cards to play them. And you're going to have some really unique ones that get extra effects out of them, like this here. So 2-cost Fear My Joggin' Eye. choose up to one character on your field, it gains 1k BP until the end of the turn, and then choose up to one of your action points and switch it to active. So essentially, if you played this card normally, it essentially costs 1 and then you get that action point back. But if you were to play this after that Yukino ability, you don't have to pay an action point, but since you played it, you still get to restand an action point. So it's a free play, but you also get to restand. While the 1k buff isn't going to be the most game-breaking thing, still really nice to play an event card, get the event card off because you need to play one for whatever reason, and also restand an action point in the process. On top of that, if you don't know, with your action point restander, normally you have to pay 1 action point to get 2 back, so essentially you're just getting 1 free action point. With the Yukina, that changes. This is now a 0 action point card, so if you have 2 action points to restand, this card doesn't cost 1 to pay. Now you get 2 action points back. So yeah, again, with event cards and being able to cheat them out like that, you can get some really, really cool plays off on top of our actual character cards benefiting from playing event cards. Like that Yusuke raid, for example. If we're spamming out event cards and then also drawing 2 cards, like there's a lot of really cool plays I'm sure you can string into this deck. Another event card here that you might run, the 2-cost Sword of Darkness Flame. Choose 1 character with 3k or less on your opponent's front line and sideline it. Sort of like a pseudo special. It just doesn't have a trigger, unfortunately. But sidelining a 3k just straight up, and then you're spamming your normal specials. Pretty gross. Also, we should look at the Dragon of Darkness Flame, the special for Hiei that you're spamming. Nothing new, nothing crazy, but you're replaying it over and over, so it's nice. Choose a 3k and sideline it, but if you have Hiei on the field, choose a 5k instead. Our generic, but very strong special. And then we went over it earlier, but in case you missed it, the 4-cost 3 Grand Treasure of Darkness. Draw 3 cards and then trash 1 with a draw trigger. Again, getting a free draw 3 trash 1. Can hopefully string and play out into some really, really cool plays. While we're over here, we also have this 3-cost Yukina here, who is going to be a double energy generator, which is really nice. When played, look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal up to any red event card among them and add it to your hand. Place the remaining on the bottom and then trash a card if you took it. So yeah, you're able to search out any event card with her. Could be really, really good, especially if you're trying to finally find those specials because you have the setup, but you don't have the specials to keep spamming out, you know. She has the active trigger as well. 2 energy generation. Yeah, not a bad Yukina at all. And then we have, for our Hiei raid targets here, we have a 2-cost Hiei. When played, if you've used an event card this turn, you get to draw a card. No trigger, 3k BP, but he's our raid target, so I'm sure we're going to splash in a few of them. Hopefully, effectively, most turns, he's just a when played draw, basically. So yeah, really cool to see these red decks with a lot of like deck filtration and draw power. It's gonna get they're gonna get really strong. They're already super fast and aggressive. Now you're giving them power to get to what they want faster. A little scary, a little scary. As far as the other Hiei cards here, we have a 4-cost Hiei. When attacking, you can draw a card and then trash a card, but if you've used 2 or more event cards this turn, you just straight up draw a card with a draw trigger as well. Again, just more keeping our hand full and getting the cards that we need as fast as possible. 4k BP too, fantastic. 1-cost Hiei. During your turn, this character gains 1k BP if you've used an event card this turn. Effectively a 3k with no trigger, but on a 1-cost. Pretty nice to have. But overall, raid target, which we love. A lot of no triggers, though. As you're going to notice in Yu Yu, there is still quite a bit of no triggers. Hopefully they don't add up too much. And then we do have our 0-cost generic Hiei, add to hand, 1500. And then some other Yukino cards to mention. 2-cost active main switch to resting. You can choose 1 other character on your field and it gains 1k BP until the end of the turn. No trigger, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this is a super necessary card. I probably wouldn't run it. 0-cost Yukino. When played, draw a card and then trash a card. This is a great 0 to have. That early game deck filtration on a 0. We love that with the draw trigger as well. And then some other cards here, maybe this Kuwabara's deck specific, but I'd say the other ones can pretty much go wherever. They're pretty generic cards. You'll see them in most sets. We've got this Koenma card here, who's just going to be our generic 2-cost, generates 2 when active, no trigger. Might need it for the Kurama deck, but not really outside of that, I'd say. 1-cost Goki. I haven't seen this card in a set in a bit. The Impact, so it's a 1-cost with Impact. If he's on the front line at the end of your attack phase, if this character's active, you sideline him. And when this character attacks and loses, you sideline him. So essentially, you have to attack and not get blocked by a 3k or higher, then he lives. Or you have to attack with him. Or if you don't attack with him, he gets sidelined. Such an interesting 1-cost without a trigger. I don't know. I felt like, I think there was in a Inosuke, a yellow Inosuke, that I was like tempted to try to build around that did this. Either way, yeah. Goki. Was it yellow? Maybe it was red. I don't remember. I think it was yellow. Anyways, then we have a 3 cost. Our generic costs 1 less if we're up against a purple or green deck, making him a 2 double energy generator. Never terrible to have in like rare battles potentially, like for Yu Yu, because it's always the other 2 cards, other 2 colors in the set. Then we have a 5 cost Kuwabara. When played, choose one of the following. You can choose up to 1 site with 1 or less energy generation on your opponent's field and straight up sideline it. Or if you have 2 or less cards in your hand, draw a card. No trigger, 4k BP. I mean, maybe that second effect would be pretty nice in like the Kurama deck, just to help us keep our hand full while keeping bodies on the board. But man, that no trigger just makes it look so bad. Like, it's crazy how a card like this with a draw trigger just instantly makes it look really good. Otherwise, I'm already considering just like, why would I really try to squeeze this in when it just ends up in my life? Then we have a 3 cost Kuwabara with Nullify Impact, draw trigger, 3500 BP. Not a terrible 3 cost. You know, Nullify Impacts literally can save you from losing games and them just ending from 1 impact. So never bad to consider running a couple of them as like a failsafe. And then 0 cost Kuwabara, this is our generic active main, switch to resting. He'll generate 2 energy until our end of our main phase, and then we sideline him. Probably not super necessary for Kurama, because the only deck we'd probably consider running him. And then we've got Botan here, who is our generic 1 cost, 1 played, bounce back a 1 or less, or you have to bounce her back to hand, but a great double energy generator as a 1 cost. I don't know. There's a lot of options for double energy generation, like with our site, with our Kuramas and stuff, Yusuke, so I don't know if she's super necessary. And then we have a 0 cost Botan, 1 played, choose 1 character on our field, it gains 1k BP until the end of the turn. No trigger. I feel like cards like this, again, just become a lot more runnable and considerable when they just have any trigger. But no trigger on a 0, that's just a 1k for a one-time buff. We've probably got other 0s we're going to run. And then, yeah, with that, that is officially every single red Yu Yu Hakusho card. Yeah, all around, I'm pretty excited for this set. I hope the Hiei deck plays out as good as it sounds. I haven't tested red as much as I'd wanted to. Really enjoyed my Kurama games. Hiei couldn't really get to flow perfectly, but again, you do feel great when you're playing tons of event cards for free. That was going well. But at the end of the day, you know, having Snipe and Impact on a big body, on a big body like Kurama, and then also having double attack as well as draw power as well as other options that he's doing, trigger protection, just plays into some really, really cool turns versus like a lot of draw power for free. Doesn't always play out as you'd expect. But at the same time, I mean, spamming specials from sideline, that's got to be pretty solid. I wonder if this would be a good splash in there as well. More event cards, and it's just a straight up kill at 3k. Could be good. Curious to see the builds, though. Very excited for people to start building and playing and diving into it. Let me know what you guys are going to be building. Let me know what color you think is going to stand out the most. If you got this far in the video, you're an absolute legend. I appreciate you more than you know. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.